Hello everyone. I just wanted to give a video walkthrough of two of the new features in ScoutsTracker, both of which relate to the wallet system of payment tracking that is designed to reduce workload on both Scouters and parents. For those of you who aren't familiar, ScoutsTracker wallets are like a pay-as-you-go or top-up account. Every member has a wallet, as does the section, and each event has its own wallet that it can use to track its finances. But the basic idea is that parents can give a lump sum into a wallet, and then that sum can be used to pay down certain events. So for example, let's go to Taylor's wallet and we'll record a $300 deposit. For example, we received an e-transfer from Taylor's mom. We can save that, and now we see that Taylor has some money in her wallet. Then, as members sign up for events, they can choose to pay from their wallet directly. So for example, I can show what it would be like for me to sign up for the big canoe trip. And am I going? Yes. And I would like to pay from my top-up wallet. And there, I've signed up and saved all in one shot. And of course, you, as a Scouter, can record the sign-up and payment for any of the members. So for example, if we click on Manage Signups, we can record that Taylor's going to go on the trip, and we can say that we received the money, or we're going to take the money from her wallet. So we add an entry, we save, and now when we go and look at Taylor's wallet, we see that the transfer, the payment has been implemented as a transfer. So you can see that there's $260 that's been taken out of her wallet, leaving her with a balance of 40. And similarly, the events wallet has seen a contribution of $260. And of course, at any time, any member can sign in and see their own wallet. They can do so by the home page by going down to My Wallet. So in fact, let's take a look at another youth and we'll see what their wallet looks like. So it shows all the ins and outs for all the events. It links all of their payments to a particular event, shows the balance, etc. And you, as a Scouter, also have the ability to see anybody's wallets. And you can do that by going to Account, Wallets. You can see the troop wallet, you can see the members' wallets, and you can see the events. So at any time, you can get a sense of how much money has gone in, how much money has come out, how you're doing throughout the year for all of your events, etc. And in the case of the event wallets, there's even an annual roll-up which shows how you're doing overall across all of your events. So you can get a sense of, are you managing your events well, or are you losing money on all of them, etc. But why wallets represent a big win for sections is that Scouters no longer have to chase down money, or at least not as frequently, because members are able to pay themselves using the funds in their top-up wallet when they actually sign up for an event. So a lot of time, you never have to handle any money at all. And the win for parents is that they don't have to continuously pull out their checkbook or go to their banking app and do an e-transfer for every single event over and over and over again. But should a parent choose to pay via cash, check, or e-transfer, let's say, rather than putting money into their wallet, you can record that payment. And when you receive the funds, and ScoutsTracker will automatically record it as a deposit to their wallet and then a transfer over to the event. And the reason that we actually record those kinds of payments as a deposit to their wallet is so that when the parent goes to Home My Wallet, they can actually see the fact that the payment went in and was applied to the event. So they have a complete history of what was done. And then you're not going to end up getting challenged by the parent saying, hey, I don't see any record of this check that I gave you. To illustrate, let's go back to our big canoe trip and we'll record a payment that doesn't come from our wallet. And we're going to say that it's a payment. It's automatically initialized to 260. We can add an optional note, check, see at planning meeting. So everybody's aware it's an optional note. We can say that we received the money from the member. How do we receive it? We got a check. Record that. And now Kumar has been recorded as having been paid, and there's an entry in his wallet. And a really cool feature is that if someone ever needs to be issued a refund, for example, the event was canceled, or perhaps they changed their sign up to no before the sign up deadline, you can issue a refund and it'll go straight back into their wallet. And again, there will be a complete paper trail so that the parents and you know exactly what happened to the money. So for example, if we find out that Taylor actually can't go, so we're going to change her sign up to no, now shows she's owed a refund of $260. We add an entry, well, it's automatically initialized to refund, and we're going to say it's going to go back to her wallet. Add entry, save those signups. And now if we go and look at Taylor's wallet again, we'll see that it's recorded as a fee refund and her balance is back to the original $300. So again, this is really cool. You don't have to keep writing checks or going home after a meeting and using the Sections banking app and issue e-transfers. The money has just been put back into their wallet and they can use it again for the next month, for the next event. And a key thing is that wallets can be shared within a family, meaning that a couple of siblings and Scout or Mom can all pay for events from the same wallet. And the wallet statement will show every payment for every event tagged with the relevant member. So there's absolutely no guessing as to why the family's wallet balance was reduced by $60, let's say. It'll say exactly that the fee payment was for Emma towards the spring camp, for example. In this demo account, we have a couple of people who are sharing a wallet. And in this example, we see that the wallets transactions being shown in this statement are for Kumar, Angie, and Sanjeev, Scouter Sanjeev. And it tags that we just made the check payment for Kumar. Previously, there had been payments for Angie, etc. So it's all individually tracked. There should be no surprises. Parents will find this very convenient. And of course, the way to set this up is by clicking on Account, going down to Wallets, Member Wallets, and there's a link for sharing. Click on Sharing, and you can see all of the wallets, all of the youth, and all it takes is clicking on a link to say that we want to share Taylor's wallet with Kumar, Angie, and Sanji. So we're not going to do that, but that's all you have to do, and then all of the transactions are merged. You can also unmerge people. And you can also record expenses and reimbursements against a wallet. So for example, a scouter buys groceries for an upcoming camp or hires the paddle instructors or sources some crafting supplies. You can then go into an event and record these as an expense claim. And subsequently, you can reimburse them. And by reimbursing them, you can transfer the money directly from the event's wallet back to the member's wallet so they can use it to pay for some subsequent event. So for example, if we go to a fundraiser event we have here, we can look at the event wallet, add an entry, and say that we're going to record an expense claim. And let's say it's being made by Angie. And what's the category of the expense? Well, food. She's buying, or she bought, hot dogs and drink boxes. And how much did she spend? Well, she spent $54 and change. So now we have an expense. We can actually subsequently reimburse the expense claim. So again, it looks through all the expenses, finds that there's only one person who has an outstanding expense claim, pre-selects it, it's Angie. We're going to transfer money back to her wallet. And how much are we going to transfer back? Well, the amount that she spent. So boom, that's it. There's no checks. There's no e-transfers that you have to worry about. The money's back in her wallet. She can now use it for the next event. And if we go to Angie's wallet, we can see that there's a record of the expense reimbursement, which event it was for. What I glossed over a little earlier was the event wallet is a little more complicated than a member's wallet or the troops wallet. So in fact, if we go and take a look at one of our event wallets, we'll see there's even a reconciliation section. Yes, of course, all of the transfers, the money in and out, all the payments, all the expenses, all of the reimbursements are recorded, but there's also a summary. So you can see, have you left money on the table? Where did all the expenses go? You know, when planning future events, it may be useful to know and budget that, wow, we've been typically spending like 50% of our budget on gas and transportation or something. But this is the kind of information that your treasurer is going to really like. So that's a summary of what ScoutsTracker's wallet feature is like up until now. So we're now going to get into the new features associated with version 19.4. And one of the key characteristics of the implementation of the wallet feature to date has been that the wallets have been intended to record real money. For example, when a parent gives you a lump sum of $200 in real money via check or an e-transfer or cash to deposit in your wallet, that really has to be treated like real money. If they entrusted money to you, you have to treat it like real money. And when an expense is reimbursed, the scouter is going to expect money back, real money back, just like they put real money on their credit card to buy the groceries. So what's stored in the wallet really feels like real money, and therefore there's an expectation that if and when a member leaves your section, they're going to get a full refund for whatever's in their wallet because they gave you money. But many groups also track fundraising dollars that are frequently referred to as ScoutBucks. Sometimes these ScoutBucks are a member's share of fundraising proceeds. Other times they can be used as a reward for having acted as a offer of service at an event for the younger sections. Or perhaps you can use them as a little prize pool for your Cub Car rally. What you do with ScoutBucks is up to you. And counting ScoutBucks on a per member basis is a good way to encourage people to participate in fundraisers, as they'll be more inclined to see the value of fundraising because they're getting a direct benefit. But a crucial characteristic in ScoutBucks is that they aren't real money. They're simply section funds that have been earmarked for a particular member. So when you distribute a fundraiser's profits or reward a member with a few ScoutBucks to thank them for acting as an offer of service, then the member's not getting paid in real cash, because that would actually make your section an employer. Instead, the member's getting some credit, which we call ScoutBucks, that you can optionally let them use for specific purposes, like paying for upcoming events. Now, the fact that ScoutBucks don't represent real money means that when a member leaves your section, it's reasonable that they're just walking away from that accumulated total. They don't have the right to turn around and say, I want my $240 back for having participated in the bottle drives. To support the need to track fundraising credits, yet keep these credits separate from parents' real money contributions to their top-up wallet, ScoutsTracker now provides members with a second wallet, naturally called ScoutBucks. So now members have their original wallet, which is still called the top-up wallet, and it continues to track real money and is occasionally topped up by members and then drawn down to pay for events, just as it is currently. But they also have the new wallet that keeps track of all of their fundraising credits. This means that the members now have two balances, and you'll see that when you view a member's wallet statement. So for example, again, if we go to Home, Member Wallets, we can now see that there is a top-up wallet and there's a MyScouts wallet, and they have independently tracked money in and money out, and they got their own balance. And of course, you can see this for all members in a nice, easy overview. If you go to Account, Wallets, Member Wallets, you'll see that you can see everybody's top-up wallet and their ScoutBucks wallet. And you can configure ScoutsTracker to enable a ScoutBucks wallet for some members, but not others. So for example, here, you can see that Scouters haven't been granted a ScoutBucks wallet, so they have no balance there. But when a member has a ScoutBucks wallet, you can configure an event to allow the member, when they sign up, to choose from which of the wallets they want to pay from. So for example, if we go to our big canoe trip and I RSVP, we'll see that when I sign up, I'm now being given a choice of top-up wallet or ScoutBucks wallet. But as I said, the section gets to decide which, if any, events can be paid from via ScoutBucks wallet. For example, some sections might decide that they want to reserve ScoutBucks for really big marquee events like an international jamboree. Other sections might feel that, hey, the parents fundraised and the kids fundraised, and let's let them decide how their effort best meets the needs of their family. You can control this by going to Accounts, scrolling down to Payment Tracking, and you can see that you can control who gets a ScoutBucks wallet. You could say just the youth members. You could say the youth members and the Scouters, because they have to accumulate money for the international jamboree too. Or you can say everybody, or you can also say no one, which is effectively the same as turning off the ScoutBucks feature. If you're tracking fundraising dollars in some other manner and you just feel this is added complication, you can turn off this feature. And it's worth noting that events only actually have one wallet. They don't make a differentiation between cash, the top-up, and ScoutBucks wallet, because to them, whether a member is paid or not, whether an expense has been paid, etc., it's all just money in and out. So an event only has a single wallet. Of course, this setting here simply says whether they have a wallet. To determine whether a member can pay for an event from their ScoutBucks wallet is a different question. That can be configured on an event-by-event basis. So if we go to our canoe trip, click on Edit, Sign Up and Fees, you'll see that there's an option that allows members to self-pay from their ScoutBucks wallet. So you can turn it on, you can turn it off for any event. This can get a bit tiresome, so you can also set a default value. Again, in Account, Event Defaults, you can pick the types of events that you want to allow members to sign up from. It could be none, in which case, by default, no member is ever going to be able to pay from their ScoutBucks wallet for any event. But you can always go in and enable self-pay from the ScoutBucks wallet for a specific event, just like I showed you. Or you might say that you want it to be for the non-meeting events. So, meeting events, you want the kids to bring in dues and cash, and it's about financial responsibility, etc. So you don't want people using their ScoutBucks wallet. Or you might say, hey, it's up to the parents to decide what suits them best. And so we're happy with any member paying for any event using whatever ScoutBucks they've accumulated. So the key takeaway here is that the new ScoutBucks wallet behaves exactly like the top-up wallet, but allows you to maintain a clear separation between the real money contributed by the parents and the earmarked credit granted to a member by participation in fundraisers or other activities. And as a section, you have complete control over which types of members actually have a ScoutBucks wallet and which events they're permitted to use that ScoutBucks wallet for to pay for the fees when signing up. Now, another new feature is better support for fundraiser events. Since fundraising is closely associated with ScoutBucks, ScoutsTracker now offers more support for tracking how much money your fundraiser has earned and how you want to share that profit amongst your members. First, when you view an event's wallet, there's now an option for you to record in the wallet the fundraising proceeds for that event. So for example, if we go to a bottle drive event we've got here, we can view the event wallet and we can add an entry and say, we're going to record this event's fundraising proceeds. Let's say we made almost $1,200. We brought the bottle back to the beer store. And there we are. We've now is showing the proceeds. It's also worth noting that you can record proceeds multiple times. For example, you have a spring garden products campaign. You'll have earned some money through online sales. You'll also have earned some money through door-to-door sales. You might even have gotten some donations or contributions from well-meaning parents, community association, or local businesses. You can add them all up and just say, overall, our campaign made this amount of money, or you can record them as, here's the number for online sales, here's the number for door-to-door, etc. And ScoutsTracker will take care of doing the math for you. My guess is your treasurer is going to appreciate the increased level of granularity by recording different proceeds. It's also pretty common to have expenses against a fundraiser. For example, we demonstrated hot dogs and drink boxes to keep people nourished, or maybe you had printing costs and getting the flyers done. You record these in the same way for as you would for any other event, and you can reimburse them. And the nice thing is, ScoutsTracker will then do the math to make sure that you now know what your net profit is, all of your proceeds, less all of your expenses. And there's now a second new option to handle sharing an event's profit between some and all of your members. That is, from your event's wallet, you can select a new entry called Event Profit Share and pick how much of the profit you want to share and with which members and into which wallet the selected member's cut should go. Now, for a fundraiser, typically you'd want the money to go to the member ScoutsBucks wallet. So to demonstrate, we can go to our fundraiser here, add an entry, and say we're going to share this event's profit across members. It's going to say, well, into which wallet? Again, for a fundraiser, you'd probably want to put it into the ScoutBucks wallet. And then you get to choose which members are going to share in the profit. There's a number of ways to filter this down pretty quickly. It defaults to just the Scouts and just those members who participated. But you could change that and say it's everyone. Or you could also say we want it to be just Scouts and Scouters. You can individually select people. You can select by the same groupings, the entire groupings, but probably the most convenient is you're going to say all. And then it'll say, well, I've selected 14 members. And then you're given a bunch of options for determining how much money you want to distribute. And of course, key point here is that when you select which wallet you want the members cut to go into, you're now enabling a clear separation between what we've made, what we've earned in the fundraiser versus what the parent put into their top-up wallet in cold hard cash. Now, you're given 4 options to specify how much money is being shared. The flexibility is because every section has their own opinion about how money should be divvied up. For example, one colony might say, oh yeah, we're just going to take all of the profit and we're going to do a profit claim. That's a different entry saying we're going to claim this event's profit and we're just going to put it into our general ledger and yeah, we're going to take all of it. So $1,216, etc. Not going to do it right here. But another section might say that, well, actually, what we're going to do is we're going to share this event's profit. We're going to pick everybody who participated, and we're going to share exactly $600. And that'll leave the remainder in a certain amount that you can distribute some other way. Maybe you want to claim that for the PAC's general revenue, but that's your flexibility. But it can also be more complicated. For example, you might want to say that we want to distribute 40% of the profit to just the participants, the Scouters and Cubs who participated in this event. But we then want to do a second profit share, and we also want to, well, maybe we want to distribute 50% to everybody in the troop, whether they helped or not. Because let's just get people into the idea that fundraising helps everybody. And then that would leave a little bit left over. And again, you could claim that as perhaps toss it into the PAC's new canoe fund. So we'll put it into the ScoutBucks wallet, the troop ScoutBucks wallet. We could do that. So, but the key point is that everybody has their own opinion of how to handle fundraising proceeds. And ScoutsTracker offers you several options for specifying the amount in a way that best suits the way you think. Like maybe you just say, hey, 50% to the kids, 50% to the troop, and all you have to do is type in the number 50% and ScoutsTracker does the math. Or you may want to say specifically, hey, we want to give exactly $20 to every member. And again, ScoutsTracker will do the math knowing how many people you selected. Ultimately, every amount is transferred into a per member calculation, but ScoutsTracker gives you a few options for specifying the amount, and it'll do the math for you. And as with recording proceeds, you can do this in multiple tranches. So for example, in the example I suggested earlier, you might want to give 40% to all the participants, and then another 50% as a second profit share to everybody in the PAC. And you can do it as many ways as you want. Profit shares can also be edited. This is really important when you discover after the fact that you forgot to mention one of the people. For example, there was a kid who couldn't show up on the day of the bottle drive, but they had completely taken care of getting the flyers printed. So yes, they had contributed. They weren't there that day, but they had contributed, so they really should be considered a participant. And you realize, my goodness, I should have included them in the profit share. Or perhaps you got a last minute donation from a parent who just chipped in $100, which changes your overall net profit. So you can go back and edit a profit share, tweak the numbers, change the members who are participating, change the per member amount or the total amount being shared, and ScoutsTracker will take care of updating everybody's ledgers appropriately. And of course, if you made a mistake and realized that it was Emma G instead of Emma J who participated, you can go and take one member out, and in fact, it'll correctly remove the transaction from that member's wallet. So take care of a lot of the work for you. You can do it by a spreadsheet or some other method if you want to, but ScoutsTracker is designed to make it pretty darn easy for you. And of course, if you start down one path and realize, no, we're going to start again, you can delete a profit share and it'll clean up everybody's wallet appropriately. An important thing to realize is that the profit share that I just described isn't just for fundraisers, and it's also not just for profit. In terms of using it for non-fundraisers, you might actually have an adventure, you carefully budget, you carefully collect all the money from everybody, and it turns out that your last minute grocery purchases came in under budget. There was a lot of things on sale. Or perhaps you showed up at the event facilities, and when the owner realized that you were with scouting, he only charged you half the posted rate. Suddenly, your event has turned a profit. Now, you could say, well, that was just a windfall for the troop, and we're going to claim that as part of our general revenue. Hey, we got lucky. Or you might say, you know what? It's the parents' hard-earned money. Let's transfer it back to them. And that, again, highlights the difference between selecting the top-up menu and the ScoutBucks wallet. In the case of a fundraiser, it's just credit that's been earmarked for you. But in the case of an event coming in under budget, you're returning parents' hard-earned cash, so it should go back to the top-up wallet. And you may discover that you have an event with an unexpected loss. Speaking from personal experience, our adventurers once did a train trip where we put our canoes on the train, then we got off by the side of the lake in the middle of nowhere and paddled back to civilization. We were able to pre-buy everybody's train fare, but we weren't allowed to pay the cargo fees until we boarded the train. So the canoes were $32 a person. We had to have cash for that. So we budgeted for that, charged the parents accordingly. 2 weeks before the event, we get a notice from VIA saying that they raised the cargo rates for the canoe from $32 to $100, which represented about $615 in unplanned expenses, or about $38 per person. So with the new features, ScoutsTracker allows you to record the additional expense and then do a profit loss share and just say, we're going to claim the $38 from everybody's wallet. It's an unfortunate oversight. So to demonstrate, if we go to our big canoe trip and we look at the event wallet and we add an entry, recording an expense claim, who paid for this. Let's say it was Sanjeev. The expense, gosh, what do we call this? We could call this transportation, gas transportation. Extra canoe fees. And I don't remember what the exact amount was from tax, but it was around $615. And again, we can now say we are going to reimburse this expense. It's Sanjeev. It's already initialized with all the things that we're going to give with all the amounts. We're putting it back into his wallet, and we save. And Scouter Sanjeev's wallet has now been updated. Of course, now we're running a real loss. We want to distribute that loss to the members, so we can add a member, and because the event balance is negative, it's saying, oh, do you want to share this loss? And we're going to share it with everybody's top wallets, and we want everybody who participated to bear the incremental cost, and we want to just distribute all of it. So share for extra canoe costs. So that's an example of how we use this new feature to help deal with a situation where we encounter an unexpected cost that we have to pass on to the parents. This last point will impact some of you. The new ScoutBucks wallet, coupled with the improved ability to share profit, has rendered obsolete the old hack that was called targeted fundraising. It was a pseudo badge that allowed you to accumulate a total sort of funds raised. Now that we have a good formal ScoutBucks wallet and real ways to distribute money, the targeted fundraiser hack isn't needed anymore. Consequently, any targeted fundraiser event labels have been just turned into regular fundraising labels. And the events with those labels that had given credit to youth, that credit has now been turned into actual wallet transactions into members' ScoutBucks wallets. If none of what I'm saying makes any sense to you, don't worry, you're probably not impacted. But if you had been using targeted fundraising, know that everything that you'd recorded has been migrated to use the ScoutBucks wallet. So for example, if we go to this wallet here, we'll see that here's an entry that says it was migrated from the old deprecated targeted fundraising badge. So to wrap up this presentation, the existing wallet functions have been now upgraded to include a second ScoutBucks wallet, a new way to record fundraiser proceeds, and a powerful new way to share those proceeds or an event's loss amongst all of the members. And in the process, the old targeted fundraiser hack has been migrated to formally use ScoutBucks wallets. And of course, as with all releases, there's been a number of other bug fixes and minor enhancements to wallets. If you want to see the full details of this release, you can click on Help in ScoutsTracker, and in the About This section, you'll find a link to the release notes. And if you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask on the ScoutsTracker discussion group on Facebook. Thank you.